Alright, let's start working on the engine compartment for the car. Now I'd like to start off by saying that we're going to keep this relatively simple. We're not going to be going into a heavy amount of detail here inside the engine compartment. However, if on your own you'd like to go ahead and detail this, you've got a lot of pictures that you can take a look at, and you've seen pretty much how we would go about detailing with polygons as we've gone throughout the rest of the car. So feel free if you'd like. I'm going to kind of dash through this just a little bit. Now to get started, we're going to grab all of the pieces of the trunk that need to flip upward, that being these 4 panels and the 2 side pieces on either side. We'll go ahead and group these together, and I'm going to name this group, let's call it trunk. Now you'll need to move the pivot point of this group, so I'll press insert, we'll move the pivot somewhere up here. And now we can just rotate this up. You may need to experiment a little bit with the exact location of the pivot point to get things just right. Now the first thing I'd like to do is kind of add some thickness to these side pieces, which is about all we really need to do to wrap up the trunk itself. The original model that we designed wasn't quite intended to be looked at from the inside, so we just need to add some inner surfaces to it. What I'm going to do to do this is grab all of the surface faces. Now notice I'm grabbing these from underneath, but you can grab them from the top if you like. And almost there. And there we go. Well, looks like I grabbed an extra 1 or 2 down there, so make sure you don't get those. And what we're going to do basically is just duplicate these. So let's shift right mouse. We'll come down to duplicate faces. Make sure that separate is off. Hit duplicate. And we'll push these in a little bit just to create an inner surface. Now, before you deselect, before you do anything else, make sure you shift right mouse, go to face normals, and choose reverse normals, so now that these normals are facing outward, so we can get them all attached. Also, you'll notice that the normals here, the faces, here along this bevel have now inverted, and they're kind of flipped over one another. Pretty easy to fix. Just grab edges, and what you can do is just scale these edges apart. Maybe give them a little bit of a tug using your move tool. Just come over here anywhere you see the edges kind of crossing back over one another, and scale away. Pull towards us a little bit. And if I could select the right one, come here, you. Thank you. And we'll flip that around, give it a tug. Let's frame up on that one so I can kind of move around it for just a moment. And I think I got one more down here. And there we go. A little bit of tweaking aside, I think that's going to straighten pretty much everybody out. Alright, so now we basically just need to get these all attached. And oh, I missed one. I thought there was one short, but let's go ahead and get him too. Scale him in, like so. Okay. Now given there's probably going to be a little bit of tweaking as we move along, we also have another edge where the beveling has kind of flopped over itself over here on the side. Let me switch over to vertices. We'll clean this one up by moving individual points. And pretty easy. And I think this will about do it. We can tweak some of that out later after we get everything all attached in. Okay, now to create our attachments, if you will, you can, if you like, go ahead and just snap these each into place, which is what we're going to do. Another method you could choose alternatively is to create a bevel. What we're going to do is just grab each vertex and snap over and merge these into place. Now, anywhere you have this, notice we have one corner that has to go off into two vertices. No problem, just chamfer that vertex. And let's take that chamfer and bring its width down. Merge those together. Just framed up on those. So yeah, sorry if things get a little bit quiet while I'm just sitting here doing merges over and over again. Now again, we have one corner going off into two vertices, so go ahead and just chamfer these. And I'll snap in, and merge. Some of these verts look like they get pretty close together, so let's spread them apart a little bit. And we'll spread them apart down here on the outer shell as well. Kind of clean things up just a little bit. Now, I am just hitting G in order to create that merge, so if you see me merging without seeming to do anything, that's all I'm doing. Alright. And down here. And I believe that gets us all the way down. Oh, we got a few over here we need to grab as well, so let's merge these together. Again, just hitting that G key. Alright. Now we need to add some thickness down here to the underside as well. If you want, you can go ahead and have a look at your smooth mesh, which notice is still down here. That's a disappointment because I thought I grabbed all of my smooth meshes. Instead of having to deal with this, what I think I'm going to do is just hit Shift tilde. I'll grab this guy and delete him out. I'm going to select this piece, press the up arrow key, and he's just grouped over to trunk, so that's probably what the problem is. No problem. What we'll do is we'll just grab him by himself and hit Control tilde and create a new smooth proxy. Press the page up to get it up to the next level. And there we go. We can just put the car paint material on there again. And then we can go to its smooth proxy. You'll notice it's now inside of trunk, so let's see if, just as a test, if I grab the trunk layer and I rotate, good, everybody's coming along. And that may be true of everyone. Let's see if I test these guys. Yeah, all of you guys are down on the floor as well. So I'll just do the same thing with them. Hit Control tilde. Whoops, not Control tilde, Shift tilde. Thanks. Alright. And the only reason I'm doing this is that in the end, this might be actually faster than going in and rebuilding a hierarchy. Especially once you get it down to a pattern. So I'll just drop that silver back on these. And there you go. Let's go back to our trunk. Let's rotate that back up. We're starting to get some nice thickness here on the underside of this piece, but it'd be nice if we could go ahead and connect everything together here at the bottom where we just have this opening. And to do that, we're going to start using, you guessed it, our Append to Polygon tool. Now this is just a little corner here I'll go ahead and just fill in. Not too stressed about how that looks on the underside. Of course, you could create a bevel on the underneath and turn that from a triangle back into a quad. I'm not really going to stress over about it, though. And pull this over and fill in the little corner. And it looks like we could stand to make a couple of adjustments here, like maybe pull this down just a little bit. And that'll probably do just fine. Make sure we don't have too much gappage here, though. So take a look here. So now that we've changed the general shape of this piece, we kind of changed how the pieces are going to merge together. So take just a moment. Make sure you don't have any nasty gaps showing up. And if you don't, then you can move on. Okay, so I think that does it pretty much for this piece. We will take just a moment, though, and let's grab this piece. We'll go ahead and delete it out altogether. We have the this guy's smooth proxy group that we're going to grab, group it unto itself, duplicate that group, and scale the group to -1. Now, just as another reminder, because I know I've been saying this, my duplicate settings are still set to duplicate input graph, so I can still flip this between its high and low resolution meshes. Alright, now there's a couple of things I want to clean up before we actually create some geometry here inside the engine compartment, and that's going to be here on this piece. Now check out what I'm going to do. I want to fix this on both sides simultaneously, so I'm going to get my move tool. I'm going to set it over to reflection. I'm going to grab this vertex, and I want to slide it up, kind of curve snap it up along. But you'll notice something. If I rotate the camera just right, it should be really easy to see. As I curve snap, you'll notice that my opposite vertex over here is not coming along for the ride, which is a problem for us because we want to clean these both up simultaneously. So what we can do instead is hold down W, left mouse button, go to Align Along, and choose Edge Face. Click on this edge. And I think I grabbed the wrong edge. Let me zoom in a little bit closer. So I'll just hit G, click on this edge. That time it hit just fine. And now watch across the way, they both move together. So if you can't curve snap, remember that you can use that nice Align Along feature. And it'll save you a lot of time and hassle. Just make sure you get the right edge, because it's real easy to select one that's out in the distance. There we go, and we'll tug that up a little bit. And really, that's all I was looking to do, was just sort of straight the bottom of that area just a tad. And with that, we are ready to go ahead and build the basic geometry that will serve as the engine compartment itself, which I'm going to be creating with a polygon cube. So I'll slide this back, scale it up a bit. I'll immediately grab the face up here on top, and we'll delete that out. Let's go back to object mode. And we'll just get this to a rough approximation of the engine compartment size. Looks like my Translate X got a little boosted. Let's make sure we leave that at 0. And I think something like this will work out pretty well. Grab this face and push it forward a little bit so it goes kind of underneath the little brake light area. Now, we're going to work on edges a little bit, so I'm going to pull this edge up just a tad, get it a little bit snugged up underneath here. And these 3 edges, actually we could probably use all 4 in this case, we're going to extrude outward, like so. Then we need to kind of clean some things up a little bit, so I'm going to grab these 2 corner edges, and we'll pull these down. Grab these vertices, I'll pull these up a bit. And let's grab that outer vertex and tuck it back down. Make sure it doesn't still stick through when you look at the smooth mesh of a particular piece. Now again, we're not going into any super dramatic detail here, but we can tweak this out just a little bit to make it look a little bit nicer. I'm going to go ahead and, actually let's bring this vertex inward just a little bit. Now, am I still reflecting? It doesn't look like it. No, well the tool says I am, so that's good. We'll just pull this in and we'll reflect the motion over to the other side. And I'm going to grab these 2 edges here on the opposite sides. We'll extrude these up one more time just to create a bit of an extra wall that we can play with. It doesn't need to come up very far. We need it more in the back than we need it in the front. And it's more or less just a way for the audience to avoid seeing into any of that ventilation work up there. So we'll pull this in a little bit. And that'll work for the time being. Now, the last thing I want to do in this video is I want to split this engine compartment kind of down the middle. So let me go ahead and grab, let's see, let's get Shift right mouse. We have our Cut Faces tool, which is currently set to cut along the YZ plane. We'll cut this. And we'll go ahead and leave it just like that for now, and I'll pause this video, and we will pick up on the engine compartment in the next video. Thanks a lot.